Hi everyone, Reverend Cederman here. I hope you're doing well this week. I hope you enjoyed last week's video concerning our lay leadership program. As the weeks go by and as our organization and teachings flourish, I realize how important it is for us to establish a good leadership program because through leadership our members, Sangha members, as well as our Sangha friends and supporters are able to see the improvements and efforts that we make, and also to have a firm base, because ultimately the leaders, as part of the Sangha, with the priest and the clergy, make our firm foundation for our practice and teaching. So therefore, today I wanted to talk about the important concepts for a lay leader. The first one is that the attitude that we have as a lay leader when we're at the temple. Sometimes this can be relatively difficult to change because, we start as just members and then we take a leadership position. And the first most important thing is you are not a guest. This is your home, this is your dojo, this is your Sangha, this is your temple, and these are your Sangha members as well. So therefore it's very important that you do not treat the temple as a guest. It's very important. And what do I mean by that? Well, that's an important concept that I was taught by Tsukamoto Sensei. A lot of times when we go to an event, we think of just having a good time or having a spiritual experience or just visiting. And in doing that, we don't take control or charge of the responsibilities of the temple or Sangha, such as the maintenance, such as thinking of others. And part of the guest mindset is that you're there and others take care of you. But as a leader, most importantly, we take care of others. And by doing so, we can't think of ourselves as guests. That's why at our temple I always ask people, what is next? Is the concept that we'll be speaking of in this part 2. Second part of important concept for a lay leader, but the guest mentality of just sitting there and watching things happen. Buddhism, especially our Buddhism of Nichiren Buddhism, is an active participation of our efforts and study, and actually through our behavior and how we take care of others and how we take care of our temple and our dojo is a clear example that if we understand the teachings or not. So you are not a guest. That means not sitting around and watching other people do things, but thinking, what do I need to do? And also thinking of what needs to be done at all times. You are a leader, a dedicated practitioner who has decided to make their dedication and support an inspiration for all sentient beings. You should be an inspiration, an example of, for instance, paying attention to all the small details, turning off the candles, making sure the flowers are arranged correctly, making sure the water in the flowers is clean, making sure there's not dust, making sure things are not out of order, making sure guests are taken care of, that they have tea, that people aren't confused or uncomfortable. Those kinds of awareness, that is a basic concept of Buddhism, and that is why the practice of leadership allows us to improve that, because if you look around in basic life, most people are not aware of themselves or of others, or consider it. And so therefore, as Tsukamoto Sensei always made very clear, that we must not have a lack of consideration for self or for others. So we have to be an inspiration to our members and to others, an example. In our tradition, equality and non-exploitation are key points to remember in a position of leadership. A leader in this sense should have deep faith and dedication to the mission of saving all sentient beings and live it. Very important that we see equality, because all the different roles in the Sangha, in the temple, are on its equal stance in Nichiren Buddhism, which is one of the reasons why I enjoy and practice Nichiren Buddhism, but also non-exploitation. So therefore, when we're at the temple, we definitely must know, and therefore as leaders we must be mindful as not to exploit others when we're giving direction or giving insight. This is to develop and cultivate our bodhisattva natures by being mindful, because a lot of times, people in the regular world are not considerate of others. But the temple is our dojo, our place of practice. So therefore, many times you may see the minister being very direct with leaders. And part of that is training. And that is one of the greatest benefits of training, is that we are able to grow in our awareness, that we're able to handle many, many things, including any kind of difficulties or happenstances. So therefore, a leader in the sense should have deep faith and dedication to the mission of saving all sentient beings and live it. Dedication, living it. That means doing it, showing up, doing it. Also, being a leader means that one abides purely in the Dharma and can't live without the Dharma. And therefore, always in our mind, we're thinking about, as the Buddha states in the Lotus Sutra, thinking at all times how to cause all living beings to awaken and to attain enlightenment. That is the mentality, that is the spirit of what a leader is. This means that we should come early and leave late, to make sure everything is prepared and all members are positive and inspired by our examples of faith and wisdom. Inspiring others comes through pure dedication, also through pure mind. People can see when, especially religious people, are always pretending to be good or to be aware or mindful or compassionate. But we as Buddhists show it in all our actions, even in the most mundane and simplistic action. We take it with pure responsibility and pure awareness and pure dedication. That is faith and wisdom. As Nichiren Shonin said in Shoho Jisosho, without learning and practicing, there is no Buddhism. Leadership is the practice and learning. We also have a concept in our tradition of Enkyoji that doing is learning. So therefore, we must go and do to show that we actually have wisdom. That is changing information to wisdom. Information is simply knowing what we need to do intellectually, but wisdom is being able to do it when it is proper and when it is necessary. Number 2, as we said at the beginning, keep always the concept of what is next. This is one of the biggest benefits that I experienced with my practice of Nichiren Shu Buddhism, is that a lot of people can only see what's in front of them, cannot see the interrelated nature and interdependent nature of all things, knowing when I do this, this will happen, this will happen, this will happen, and be able to see far in the future, being able to see beyond the next step. This is wisdom in Buddhism. So therefore, what is next? What needs to be done? And not only what needs to be done at this moment, what will need to be done next? What is the next step? So one of the amazing things that happens with practicing Buddhism is that you can actually think or see 3 or 4 steps ahead, which is really useful, especially in one's life, to actually see things as they progress and to know how to adjust oneself to being able to progress and also be able to deal with things as they change and manifest differently. This means that we should understand the wisdom of action, that is aware of the whole, the bigger picture, the whole picture, not just what we focus on. What needs to be done at this very moment and what will follow it next. Very important concepts. Enlightenment is shown by one's ability to be self-aware and aware of the whole, seeing what matters. Train yourselves to be aware of all the points of each action and the many parts of the whole, such as, for instance, very simplistic example, one of the things that lay leaders learn is taking care of the altars. So therefore, lighting candles, incense, making everything correct and ready to prepare for service, and making sure that we're prepared on time because of alarm, the 5-minute alarm, or knowing how long the incense will last, that we don't put it in too soon and we don't put it in too late. We understand the nature of all things. This is to practice and demonstrate our Buddha nature, or big mind, the mind that has the capacity to envelop all things. That is the wisdom of the Buddha. a lot of times people's minds are small and narrow. And what Buddhism simply does is open the mind in the sense that we can see all the parts of the whole. By seeing all the parts of the whole, we can be able to make a difference. We can be able to be in harmony with the practice, with the teaching. So therefore, I want to thank all of you again for the second part. We're going to next talk about Enkyoji's mission with 5 core values, and then also we're going to talk about the assignment, like for instance becoming a lay leader. What is the process? That is what's going to be next. So I thank you very much, everyone, for enjoying this series with me, and I hope all of you become inspired to lead and support Enkyoji Network. Thank you very much.